There's a place down the street where good friends meet. Why don't you come along? See a face that's new, share a point of view, or maybe sing a song. Life has many stories that you hear all the time. Two of them you're here today, that's yours and that's mine. But there's a third story that'll always be there. Just climb to the top of the stair. Life has many stories that you hear all the time. Two of them you're here today, that's yours and that's mine. But there's a third story that'll always be there. Just climb to the top of the stair. Climb to the top of the stair.
Hi, Ellie. Hi, Ellie.
Oh, hi, Ellie.
Oh, hi, Harry.
Oh, look who's here, the scandal of our school.
What?
That was uncalled for, Kurt.
Clue me in. What's this about?
Ellie got in trouble with the teachers at school.
What'd you do,
Well,
skip out of a class?
Well, it wasn't my fault.
Sure.
Well, it wasn't, so there.
Then what were you doing at the principal's office? Not just visiting him, I suppose.
Well, why not, Daryl? I see the principal on a regular basis. You could say we're almost comrades.
I was wondering about that.
That reminds me of some of the things I used to do, too.
If you ask me how I used to be, I will tell you about a different me. Brother, I was selfish, always number one. Had to have it my way, had to have my fun. Stay up late and watch TV or read. During school I get the sleep I need. Never do my homework, just go out and play. Finally I got tired, having my own way. I decided, then I tried a new life. I was bored, but with the Lord there's new life. Won't you join us and enjoy this new life with Jesus Christ? Let me tell you how my life has changed, how my good times have been rearranged. Now I'm seeing God's creation, walking in His way, giving and receiving joy that's here to stay. I decided, then I tried a new life. I was bored, but with the Lord there's new life. Won't you join us and enjoy this new life with Jesus Christ? I decided, then I tried a new life. I was bored, but with the Lord there's a new life. Won't you join us and enjoy this new life with Jesus Christ? With Jesus Christ. With Jesus Christ. With Jesus Christ.
once you've been to the principal Elliott's.
No, Byron, I didn't get...
Well, tell me what happened. I mean, I didn't think...
Harry doesn't think. Oh, no. Who will I look up to now?
Like I was saying, I didn't think you were the school delinquent.
I'm not, Harry. I was with my friend Judy. She was the one who was really in trouble.
She always is. I don't see why you stick up for her anyways.
Why not? She's not as bad as everyone thinks she is. Just because she used to do some rotten things doesn't mean she still does.
Most often we think that bees are just looking for the chance to sting us. But they usually will attack only if they're bothered or hurt. They actually work very hard gathering pollen and nectar from the flowers so that they can make honey. They use some of the nectar for fuel as well. If they run out, they fall to the ground and die. Stinging is a means of protection for bees, protecting their hive and their queen bee. But the bee's valiant act of defense is just a one-shot affair. We'll see why in a moment. A bee can fly forwards, backwards, sideways, or it can hover in one place. When it stings, it uses 22 different muscles. Usually when the stinger is jabbed into the victim, it remains there. This is because of the shape of the stinger. It is really covered with barbs which allow it to dig down into the flesh, but not to come out easily. Muscles inside the stinger keep working, forcing the poison further into the flesh. If you get stung, you may notice a tiny sac at the top of the stinger. If you scratch it off, you will keep the stinger from pumping more poison into you. The barbed stinger isn't the only thing that is left in the victim. Some of the bee's internal parts are also torn out, and so the poor bee dies. If you ever get stung by a bee, just remember that it will never sting you or anyone else again. When a bee attacks, there's no turning back, and when an entire hive is disturbed, many bees swarm to its defense, giving up their lives to save the rest of the group.
Jesus said that he came to this world to rescue people who were so tied up in their wrongdoing that they were virtually lost. One day, when Jesus was teaching, a crowd of people, the scribes and the Pharisees, they were the top men in the religious field, got a hold of a certain woman and dragged her over to Jesus for punishment. They told Jesus that she had been caught cheating on her husband, and the laws of the land said that whoever committed adultery should be stoned. They wanted to know Jesus' opinion on this matter, because if he said that they should follow the law, then they could stone her, and that's what they really wanted to do in the first place. But if he said, leave the woman alone, then they could arrest Jesus for breaking the law. These officials weren't at all interested in the law, actually, but in accusing Jesus and anyone else of breaking the law. But Jesus understood fully what these officials were trying to do, and at first he refused to answer them. But they kept pressing him, holding the adulterous woman up as an example. And finally, Jesus looked at all of those Pharisees and priests and told them that whichever one of them had not committed any kind of sin, it didn't even have to be adultery, then that perfect person could throw the first stone at the woman. Well, that put all of them on the spot, because they realized that none of them was perfect, but had done some things wrong in their own life. So, one by one, they walked away, leaving the woman alone with Jesus. And when Jesus saw that no one was left to throw that first stone, he asked her, who was left to condemn her? And she answered that there was no one left. Jesus then said that he would not condemn her either, and that she was to go back to her husband and not to cheat on him anymore. And so the woman went her way, free from the guilt of her sin, and willing and able to make a new start in her life. The difference between her and the Pharisees was that she was willing to turn away from her wrongdoings and begin again. The only way to get this new start in life is through Jesus forgiving us, as that woman found out. And she was the one who had to make that decision to change. It doesn't matter what kind of life one leads. Sin is all the same to God, and he offers this new chance to change to everyone.
Print neatly now. Come on. Good. Now you'll do that 10 times again. Rub it out. Try, start again. Come on, come on, come on.
You see, when Judy started school, she wasn't really interested. And, well, she had trouble at home, and since she wasn't really interested, the teacher started picking on her. And now whenever there's trouble, everyone suspects Judy. And that's not fair. I know because I'm with her lots.
So because of her past, she's kind of labeled as a troublemaker.
Yeah, and then the other night, she came with me to a youth meeting at church, and she turned her life over to God, and she's different now.
Oh, that's really great.
Hi, my name's David Wiebe, and I work with a group called Brother Love. We're based out of Winnipeg and travel fairly extensively to various parts of Canada. And our main mission is to play to junior high school students, high school students, and university students, and letting them know about the relationship, the friendship, and the love that we've experienced with Jesus Christ. We share with them, first of all, with music that they like, music that is up-tempo and contemporary in beat and style. And in between songs, we share with them how we've found Jesus Christ to be our friend. how He's given us salvation from sin, and how He's put us in a right relationship with God the Father. Because we're a full-time band, we have to spend a lot of time practicing. So we live in a house back here in Steinbach, and we spend a good 5, 6, 7 hours a day, depending on how long we can last, practicing the music that we plan to play for the students. When we go out on the road, we have a big diesel bus that takes us to where we want to go. It runs well, and I get to drive it every once in a while too. I was originally brought up in a Christian home. My father and mother were missionaries, and they spent all of their lives telling people about Jesus Christ. So as I grew up in this environment, I got to know the contents of the Bible at a pretty early age. When I was very young, I used to think that I was a Christian. I'd always gone to Sunday school, and I'd learned memory verses, and I sort of knew what was in the Bible in a general way. But when I was about the age of 10, the Lord started speaking to me and saying, "Dave, you know, you're not really a Christian. You've never given your heart to Jesus Christ personally, never allowed Him to come in as your personal Savior." But after a while, I got so uncomfortable that I finally gave in and confessed to Mom and Dad that I'd never given my heart to Jesus. So I asked my mother to pray with me, and I gave my life to Christ. As I grew up into high school, I began to see that God was preparing me for kind of a ministry that would involve me sharing the gospel with other people. And so after I graduated from grade 12, the Lord led me through Bible school, 3 years of it. While I was in Bible school, I got involved with Brother Love, and so I've been involved with sharing the gospel in a full-time way ever since then.
You see, Judy's trying hard to keep out of trouble, but when everyone's just waiting around for her to do something wrong, well, she just needs friends to support her.
Getting ready for a show? Which role are you playing this time? You do look quite lovely. But what will the audience think of you? You can't please everyone. And who cares about who you really are on the inside? Do you find people controlling how you feel? How you think? There's a way out, and it might be painful. Someone cares about you. God cares. He has a special role in mind for you. Why hide from it?
Bye, Ren.
Then you'd be sticking up for Judy then, right?
I really think I should. She'll need some help changing her past.
Well, what do you guys do to make school a bit more interesting?
We shoot spitballs at the fish tanks.
We throw volleyballs at the gym teacher.
Oh, sounds like fun. Tell you what we did one time. We found a little trap door leading to some tunnels underneath the school, and then we went down and we went all through the school underneath, and then we found a hole up to the principal's office, and we stuck a little note up there. Well, that's the kind of thing I used to do anyway. If you'd like to tell us about how you have put your trust in God, or you have something else to share with us, even some questions, just write to the Third Story, Box 2, Station F, Winnipeg, Manitoba. That's the Third Story, Box 2, Station F, Winnipeg, Manitoba.
When I get out of bed and I'm grouchy and cross, when I've broken my mom and dad's heart, when I've cheated at school, broke the golden rule, I need a new start. When it's cloudy or bright, when I'm wrong or I'm right, each day we all make at least one mistake, but I can ask God and pray anytime, any day. He gives a new start. When I have a bad thought and my temper gets hot, when I'm tearing my body apart, and when something I've said makes me wish I was dead, I need a new start. When it's cloudy or bright, when I'm wrong or I'm right,